Hello folks, this is Paragon RG and I have good news for you. There is a new Age of Empires 4 patch coming out January 19th. That is a Wednesday, patch 10.257. So let's jump into what this patch entails without further ado. So this is the January patch. This may mean there are no more patches this month, so we can always cross our fingers. But from what I've seen, the changes are pretty good. So some general changes they've made. They are widening how players are matched with each other. So this should lead to faster matchups. I'm assuming there is some compromise in match quality, but not a proportional one. So they think that there's only a minor change in how in the quality of the actual matchups. And this is just a note that they are keeping a pretty close eye on how this has gone. Scouts now move 35% slower while carrying an animal carcass. This is awesome. This means professional scouts meta will at least have to adapt. There will hopefully now be some counterplay to professional scouts. If both players do it, one player can try to push the other player off, or imagine you do it and I don't. Maybe I add some horsemen or even some spears and try to prevent you getting some of the hunt. So this is a nice change. They may even have to make professional scouts cheaper after this, but I'm sure they're just, laying low watching to find out what they need to do. Horsemen, age 2 to 4, ranged armor increased by 1 at each tier. So how I'm interpreting this is in age 2, meaning horsemen, not Mongol early horsemen, but horsemen get 1 ranged armor. Age 3, they get 2. Age 4, they get 4. Age 4, they get 3. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, starting from feudal age. I'm interpreting that way because at each tier, I've seen some people interpret it as 1, 2, 2, 2. But I'm going for 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is an awesome change. And I think what this will allow for is seeing horsemen more useful against archer units more generally, including horse archers, archers, crossbows, whatever, as well as just raiding under town centers. So they'll be able to take town center fire quite a bit better. And for those who are coming from Age of Empires 2, I think horsemen are going to more closely fulfill the light cavalry hussar role from that game. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. I think we're going to see an awful lot of horsemen in the next couple of months. Hopefully they at least have their place now. It was pretty limited before. So let's get into some specific changes to specific civs. HRE, they fixed the Spearmen Bracing Bug. Awesome, finally. And prelates were getting stuck, and they've fixed at least one more version of that bug. That's all for them. Rus, horse archers now attack slower. This is probably just for the best. Horse archers were honestly way too good. There was so little that countered them. This effectively cuts their attack rate by 25%. That's a pretty big nerf if you think about it. So we'll have to see what happens there. They no longer receive additional attack speed and damage from incendiary arrows. This was, as far as I could tell, a bug, or at least an unintentional effect of the tech they had maybe coded in. And warrior monks are now slower when carrying a relic. Super good. Same deal as scouts carrying deer carcasses, right? This allows for a little more counterplay. If the Rus player is doing that fast castle, the super meta, like fast castle, no gold needed, horse archer, but warrior monks grabbing relics on the map. And hopefully now you can chase down warrior monks. So we will see. Mongols. This is the civ everyone was waiting for, I'm sure. Starting wood decreased by 50. This is such a good change. What it means is that, first of all, for those who don't know, all the civs, think of their starting wood, the default being 150, but there's a couple exceptions. Mongols get 200, Delhi get 250. There might be one more exception. But basically, what this means here is they're no longer getting the extra wood they were getting before to make up for having to build the ovo. The problem is the ovo is so good that you don't really need to make up for that. So this is just bringing them back in line with the other civs, as far as I can tell. Additionally, they already don't need to make houses, so to be honest, they should probably start with less wood than other civs, but hopefully they're still a Dark Age aggressive civ, just maybe not quite as obnoxious as before. In line with that change, outposts now cost 100 wood. I think this is fair. When I first read that they cost 70 wood, that wasn't crazy to me. I'm a big fan of Mongol history and knowing that they had these stations throughout their empire that allowed for cavalry to travel more quickly. Basically, a messenger could run to one station on their horse, get off, get a new horse, and just keep going, or pass the message to the next guy, and they would have fresh horses and stuff. So it's like, okay, this is cool. This is so thematic. But the thing is, they already provide that speed bonus. So do they really also need to cost less? And this is a big part of why their tower rush has been so ridiculous. So I think this is also a good change. It brings it in line with all of the other civilizations. Hopefully, a lot less tower rushing or less effective tower rushing coming out of the Mongols. Now, it was possible to own multiple ovos at the same time. I didn't see this personally, but I saw it on Reddit. I'm assuming you just had to build two or three ovos at the same time, and then all of a sudden you're generating stone for each one. So that is fixed. Mongol palace, Khanate palace, sorry, can now be packed correctly. So they have an important note here. They've removed the requirement for all Mongol buildings that they must have an empty queue. So I think this is a good change. It meant that you had to clear the queue of all your buildings before packing them up. I don't know what they've changed. Maybe it retains the queue, and then you unpack and he just like continues training the unit or whatever. But either way, it should just be smoother. I think it's just a nice quality of life fix. Delhi Sultanate, get ready for nerfs. Spearmen now activate spear wall correctly. This is great. Spearmen should brace again. Keep tech times no longer increased while in the influence of a mosque. So for those of you that didn't know, things like boiling oil would take actually longer when they were within your mosque influence with your scholars and everything. So it had the opposite effect it was supposed to. So that is fixed. Piety base research time reduced from 600 to 135 seconds. This was a weird one. There's really no reason to research this because it took 10 minutes to do without any scholars, I guess. And now it is much more reasonable. And explosives based research time has been increased from 300 to 900. They have a note about it. It's increased to match the other techs in the Imperial Age. I'm assuming there was one particular tech, I don't remember which one explosives is, that cost a weirdly didn't take very much time. So, technically a nerf, but not too big. Chaser cannons based research time has been increased from 450 to 1350. I don't even know what this tech is. I saw this, I actually thought it was a joke because the people have been joking that elephants should get lasers, and so this is where my head was going. But I'm assuming it is a perfectly normal tech. Hardened Spearman base research time reduced by half. That's really good change. That was hard to work around. You needed usually a second barracks just to get the tech, because if you wanted Spearmen and the technology, because the tech would take so long to do. Sanctity has been decreased. That's also nice because it means we should see a little more early feudal scholar grabbing sacred site play. So I think this is an important change. Herbal medicine reduced in time as well. Honed blades, sweet Jesus, has gone from 1,350 seconds to 300. So this was taking, without any scholars, what is that, 22 minutes before? And it now takes 5 minutes without scholars. This is super important. We should hopefully start to be able to see the House of Learning again from the Delhi Sultanate. So really good change. Chinese Fire Lancers. So what they've done here is they've increased the 80 food to 150 food, and all the other costs are the same. They've also they've removed the bonus versus range unit type. I actually didn't know this was a thing. So I think it makes sense to remove it because they're already good at other things. There's no need for that. Fire Lancer 3. I'm a little confused on the terminology here. I believe Fire Lancers show up in the Castle Age anyway. So, a little fuzzy on that. But their health is increased. So, along with the cost, they're kind of making them more of an elite unit, which I think is interesting. No problems there. Charge weapon area of effect damage will deal 50% damage to the surrounding enemy units. That's great. I have no idea what it was doing before. So, obviously, it was doing some kind of area of effect. You'd see Fire Lancers run in and a bunch of villagers die at the same time. So, I can't judge this because I don't know what's actually changed. Torch damage reduced from 51 to 36. And just to skip forward, you'll also see for Fire Lancer 4, it went from 55 to 40. So significant reduction, but they will still be pretty darn good at burning down buildings, so that's worth keeping in mind. Health increased for the Imperial Age Fire Lancer as well. I guess this is just Fire Lancer in general, and then this is Castle Age versus Imperial Age. I'm guess that's all they were doing. And then charge weapon damage has been reduced a little bit. Same deal. Cool. So that's pretty much the patch. They do note a couple things that they are keeping an eye on. So I think it's good to note these. So starting here. Right now, we're looking into strengthening the Abbasid dynasty, improving counterplay versus siege weapons, tuning demo ships, ensuring elephants and mounted cavalry units no longer attack faster when their animation is cancelled, and a variety of other changes. So keep in mind, this patch does not actually address the animation canceling, where, for example, knights can, in the middle of combat, move and then attack faster, or that micro we see a lot of top players doing with scouts, so they're trying to get more hits on each other. That will still be there at least until February. Okay, but they know it's a problem. They are working on it, and I'm really pleased to see as well they're looking at strengthening Abbasid Dynasty because I'm a fan of the Civ. I think they have a lot of potential and can just be fun, but they just don't have an identity right now because camel units suck, and it would be nice to see. It would be nice to see their unique units be useful. And of course, Siege. There continue to be complaints about Siege. I think the last change with Springolds was largely very, very positive. So I think they're being careful with this, and I think that's the right thing to do. Siege is in a much better place than it was in early December, and so I think slow and steady is the right thing there. Something else I'd like to see. I'd like to see a ton of landmarks be reworked. I think we'll have to wait months more for that, but I think there are some pretty core changes. For example, the Abbey of Kings for the English, nobody ever makes. I've never seen it in a game. Not once. You might as well make the Council Hall. So there are things like that where they speak more to the design of the game. None of that just yet. Hold off for another, I wouldn't say 1 month, probably something like March or even summer, once they have ranked seasons, where they'll be digging into these things and trying to make them a lot more, like trying to overall balance the game. They're still in a phase where they're adding some missing features like ranked seasons, and they're fixing bugs. So not just yet. While I'm talking about ranked seasons, keep in mind that starting January 20th, that is Thursday this week, there is a closed beta for ranked seasons. So remember to sign up for AoE Insider and upload your DX, DAG file and things like that, so that you can potentially be offered the ability to try the ranked seasons. I'm hoping to at least try it out. There's, I think, an 8-day period where they're trying that out. I'm sure they'll do an open beta as well closer to when it is released. And then that will probably be part of the spring update. So maybe we can expect that to be officially part of the game come March. All right, folks, that's it for me. This has been Paragon RG. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.